It's time to join Dan and Angie in getting to know the small business owners and artists in your town. Small biz is where it is. Let's support our community by shopping small, keeping it local, and keeping things all fine and dangy.
Hi, everybody. We hope your week has started off great.
I love how your voice always starts out so high. Hi, everybody. And you dance.
It'll change as we go along.
And sometimes you dance to the song at the beginning. I envy that, too.
I do. Well, it's a nice little tune, you know? It's like a little pick-me-up.
It's in my head for sure.
I know.
Thousands of times it feels like.
You know, you do all the editing and everything. Well, we are in studio today with a guest and very excited for like the next few episodes that we have coming up. I don't know how we did this, but it's all has to do with kind of like health and wellness.
I know. I thought
it wasn't planned.
Is she trying to tell me something? Because it's like a gym and this healthy this and healthy that.
An alternative doctor. Like we got some really, you know, it's kind of all in that same field. And so we're excited to have Samm Coffin with us today.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. She is the owner of an organic superfood company called Matcha Nude, which I love the name of it. And I love some of your little sayings on your website.
Let's get nude.
Absolutely. Our email is getnude@matchanude.com.
I know, it's pretty. Now, I'm assuming the nude means like just it's raw, organic, clean.
Exactly. There's a lot of matchas on the market right now that have tons of added ingredients. If you're going to Starbucks or Dunkin', you're getting more sugar than matcha. And so when we launched, we wanted to make sure that we had a product that was not only free of those added ingredients, but wanted to make sure as a company we had all of our personal values and ethics were coming into the brand. So it's sustainable, it's ethically sourced, the packaging's compostable, it's all organic. It's also third-party heavy metal and toxin tested.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's grown next to an active volcano. So the volcano.
Oh my gosh, lots of info there. Wow.
That's awesome.
So all of those things encompass the name.
Oh, very cool. Well, just for our audience, for people who don't know what matcha is, I mean, it kind of became a trendier thing where it's in the mainstream now. But explain what matcha is to those that maybe don't know what.
Absolutely. So it's not anything new. It's been around since 1100. It's pretty old, but it's new to us here. And it's been growing in the States 200% every year. And so it's getting more and more popular.
Oh, that's the increase every year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I say you see it in like, more, coffee shops and things like that because it is kind of becoming known superfood to us here.
Yeah.
Is that because it's like an alternative to coffee? Is that what people are turning to? Because I know I read on your site that was kind of for you. Is that what everyone's doing really with that, or is it?
Well, so definitely in the beginning, no, because it just wasn't part of the Japanese culture. It comes from Japan, or at least you want it to be from Japan.
Yeah, it's the real stuff.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Exactly. And so they're using it as a tea, and it's part of a tea ceremony. It's very ritualistic. So what it is...
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
It's a powdered green tea superfood. And so they take the green tea plant, and they pay attention to the soil health and the shading. It's actually shaded quite aggressively so that it can have more amino acids, more antioxidants in it. And then they grind it into a really fine powder. And so then when you make a drink or put it in, a smoothie or you add it to a baked good, you're dissolving the matcha in. And so unlike a tea bag where you're just steeping and getting the water from the steeped tea.
Like the juice from it, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're actually consuming the entire plant. And so it's 10 times more nutritional value than regular green tea.
So you're getting whatever those leaves are absorbing from the soil, the environment that they're in.
Exactly.
It's like the equivalent of eating it, basically.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And probably even better because if it's ground down into that fine powder, it's more absorbable into the body.
100%.
The body doesn't have to digest it and work as hard to kind of get what it needs from it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. It's going to support your whole body, mood, memory, metabolism, digestion, skin health, focus. And so it's incredible. And like I said, the Japanese have been using it since 1100, and they do very traditional tea ceremonies with it, with beautiful bamboo tools. And, here in the States, we're doing less of that and more of like consuming it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's
the American way.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, how do we get this into our body?
Exactly.
That's right. But I do love that you're sourcing from where it's supposed to come from. You're really looking into, is this a quality product? I kind of want to know the backstory about how you discovered it or how you came across implementing it into your healthy lifestyle, because you are a wellness and fertility coach.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that kind of had some kind of play in working it into your your wellness plan.
100%. Yes. So I was sick my whole childhood. I dealt with a lot of issues in and out of the ER. Doctors couldn't find answers. And I was diagnosed with my first two chronic illnesses at 18, celiac and Lyme, and then at 31 with PCOS and stage 4 endometriosis. And so all those years in between all of that, I was very much trying to find my own path to what wellness looked like in my body. And I wasn't getting help from any traditional medicine. And so I did a lot of amazing work with myself, which was I'm really proud and excited for, but I definitely didn't see how it could impact others or how it really was impacting me outside of my day-to-day experience in my body.
Well, you probably at that point couldn't think about that yet.
No.
You know, you got to get yourself well before you can start focusing.
Exactly.
On, well, this is helping me. How could it help somebody else?
Exactly.
Especially when you're dealing with all of those, everything that you named is like a inflammatory type, chronic illness.
Exactly.
That's just attacking your body. So you were really trying to look for something probably to bring that, down to base level, at least to the base level.
Exactly.
What is PCOS?
Yeah, polycystic ovary syndrome, but you don't have to have cysts to have it.
Oh, geez. So, yeah. And all those are inflammatory, basically?
All autoimmune, all inflammatory. Yeah, they like to hang out. I like to say, like, autoimmune conditions like to collect friends.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
It's terrifying, but yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I spent years healing myself and then sharing bits and pieces with friends and family and seeing really amazing things happen. I had a cousin that was having a lot of eczema and asthma issues, and I talked to them about hey, dairy is known to do this. What does it look like if you remove dairy from his diet? And then I finally dove into becoming a certified health and wellness coach. Didn't know what path I was going to take. For a while, I was just like, I'm going to work with the chronic illness babes,
Yeah.
But I've also navigated 8 years of infertility because of my chronic illnesses. And so I added that piece on as well. And I'm a
that's great.
pregnancy loss doula and all of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you got a whole list of things that I didn't even know you were doing.
Well, this brings me back to the beginning because when I said, people are substituting coffee for that, I know that's not necessarily the way it started, but I guess I feel like here in the States, it seems like there's at least some people that are switching to teas or some kind of teas instead of coffee. I know you try to do that sometimes too.
I do, yeah. I do love the taste of coffee, so I do. But I don't need it. That is the thing. I've done the experiment before to see, because coffee, if you drink it the right way, has some health benefits. You know what I mean? It is a diuretic, though. But
you can't put
you can't put all your sugars
sugar,
and everything
right.
in there. But I've done the experiment before where I've switched to an Earl Grey tea or an herbal tea, green tea, and I haven't really had where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need my caffeine. So it's just more of a taste thing.
I feel like I'm blushing
me,
because I know I only drink a couple cups, maybe 3 cups every morning, but I am definitely addicted to it. Like I'll get a headache if I don't drink it. But you were just talking about how at your Dunkin' Donuts and your fast food matchas, it has the sugar, and sugar is an inflammatory. So you're almost defeating the purpose
100%.
if you're pounding all this stuff into it, right?
Yeah. So first, 3 is a few, not a couple, right? No.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So definitely a lot of people are enjoying matcha for a coffee alternative, or they start to get matcha curious because of that part.
Right.
They're like, ooh, this, it's alkaline instead of acidic. Coffee is acidic.
It is
right?
acidic, yes.
It has significantly less caffeine. Our matcha has 23 milligrams. Coffee has 95 to 150.
Does it give you a little boost? Does it give you that sort? Because I thought you mentioned that at the beginning, whereas I think that would be interesting for me to try because some of the other things I have tried in place of it, I don't feel that thing that for my ADD, OCD brain that focuses in from the caffeine, even though it's not great for the other parts of your body.
It does help with focus, though.
Yeah.
Dramatically. So it's the L-theanine in matcha. So L-theanine is common in most teas. It's an amino acid,
right?
But it is super concentrated in matcha. And so that allows your body to relax. It helps with any anxious energy or stress, but gives you a true sense of focus. So when you're drinking coffee, it's a little bit of an illusion of focus because you have this big high and then you have this pretty quick crash.
Yeah.
Where with matcha, it's going to be sustained for your entire day.
So there's almost like an anxiety type vibe that some people, myself included, get from coffee. And maybe it is an illusion, but that sort of working anxiety makes me feel like getting things done. You know what I mean?
Well, do you want anxiety or do you want energy?
Well, I think because I have had anxiety my whole life, I have sort of turned it into a tool for getting things done. But I would be very interested in seeing what it would be like to have that boost without the anxiety, just to see how much better I may operate with it. One of the things I do, one of my sort of passion projects is I'm an author of a couple of published books, and I'm working on 3 more, but trying to keep it down to 1. But I notice if I get up in the morning and like this morning, I went to Drip-A-Later and I get a coffee, and something about the coffee brain or whatever it is gets me writing and makes me feel like, I can focus and I don't have all this chatter. So I'd be really curious to try it with that instead. Do you sort of feel the effects of it right away, or do you have to? A lot of times with the holistic, better for you stuff, it's
a transitional
Angie
period.
used to get on to me about, I'd be like, well, it's not working. I still have a headache. And it would be like, well, relax. You need to do it for a few days. Is that the way the benefits of matcha are? Or is it pretty much right away?
It's going to depend on the person and their relationship with coffee. I think part of yours is the actual culture of the coffee, the
ritual
experience. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
And so I think any warm beverage may help you get started in that morning routine.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is finding what does that replacement? So when I started giving up coffee, it was because it was destroying my gut. My gut health was really, unhappy with it. And then I started...
The acid was just
exactly
alive, yeah.
And I started to get more anxious, and then it started to disrupt my sleep. That was the last thing. Everyone thinks that's the first thing. For me, it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, I could drink coffee and then go to sleep.
Exactly.
Take a nap.
Oh, I can't.
Do that.
Whatever.
He can't. I can.
See, I don't know how you do that. You couldn't do that when you drank coffee?
So I could for a long... I started drinking coffee way too young. I don't even remember. I was a child.
Yeah.
and it was because the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Yeah.
Right?
The ritual,
America,
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
America runs on Dunkin'. You become an adult. This is what you do.
Yeah.
When you're in high school, everyone
You're
stops
18.
at the...
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're an adult now. You have responsibilities. It's time to start coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one of my biggest things is asking people, did you ever make a conscious choice to start drinking that coffee? Or was it just part of your cultural experience with your family, your friends, your community?
Yeah. That's what your parents are doing when they wake up in the morning. It's a learned behavior, really.
Exactly.
It's also definitely driven by the Starbucks of the world or whatever. It's so trendy to go get a coffee, and everybody's got their laptops at the coffee
Let's
shop.
really be serious, though. It's not usually coffee in those cups.
And
It's
Starbucks?
like a chocolate shake almost, right?
I know. And look,
Frappa.
It's insane.
I'm not worried about offending Starbucks because we really only support small business, but I can't stand Starbucks coffee. It tastes like roofing tar to me anyway. So it's like, it's rough stuff.
It's intense.
But honestly, for me, and maybe for some of us, I didn't drink coffee until I was 30, but it was... It was literally only for the effects
But then once he started... I mean, he doesn't drink that much coffee, though. There's people that drink it all day.
All day.
I mean, I remember my grandmother just drinking.
I'd have a heart attack because I get affected
all
by it.
day,
But for me, it was my first child was colicky baby, didn't sleep, fussy all the time. It's kind of still like that, but it felt.
Well, we're born with the personalities we're born with.
Well, it felt like it was almost a traumatic situation for me because I was definitely an all-in dad, but I wasn't sleeping for weeks and weeks, and I was trying to work, and that's when I started trying coffee, and I was like, wow, okay, I can at least, I'm not falling asleep on the job. But it wasn't for the culture of it. I think what happens is it's like advertising. We now it's all everybody's bought in because of the culture, and maybe if all that wasn't there, there'd be a lot less coffee drinkers in the world.
Oh, I think so, because one of the biggest things I see as a transitional assist with matcha has been okay, well, what is your ideal coffee drink? And let's figure out how to reverse engineer that into a matcha drink.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, because just about anything that you can do with coffee, you can do with matcha.
Now, what if you're a black coffee drinker like me?
Yeah, so you can drink matcha just on its own. That's actually how I got started.
Yeah.
It's like a hot tea, drink that you.
So it's not sweet.
No.
It's like, oh yeah, that sounds better already.
I don't add sweetener to any of my matchas, even when I make it a latte or add it to a smoothie or anything like that.
Oh, nice.
I mean, and really that's the best way to do it. I mean, because we did just talk about how sugar is inflammatory. So if you are looking into a superfood like this to incorporate into your diet, you're doing it a discredit by adding a ton of the sugar to it.
Yeah, and there are ways to sweeten it.
Like honey and stuff.
Yeah, we like maple because it has a lower glycemic index. Honey still has a higher glycemic index and can spike your blood sugar.
I didn't know that.
But you can also mash some fruit into the bottom of your cup, add some cold, plant milk and matcha shot on top of that. We have a whole series of that with like peaches, mangoes, strawberries, blueberries on our website.
Oh, wow.
I do. I love that your YouTube kind of directs people on, here's how you start. Right? Mm-hmm. Because people are going to get it and just plop it in something and be like, why is this clumping? Why is it doing this? So there is kind of an art to it, so you do have to learn how to mix it up and, incorporate it correctly. Otherwise, you're not going to like the outcome of it. So I love that you have a little series of
remember that thing we got for the mushroom powder? Is it one of those things that spins?
A little, you can do it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's several ways you can prepare it. You can do the traditional bamboo whisk, which is a beautiful staple on your countertop.
It's kind of artsy.
Yeah, very artsy.
Yeah.
But see, what I like about it, though, is if you're married to the ritual of coffee, there's a ritual with this you could start, too, which is probably, I don't know the history of coffee, but when you talk about the bamboo stuff and how it started, it almost sounds like a more elegant ritual anyway than coffee.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it's fast. I honestly, even when you're doing it traditionally, unless you're really being mindful and being slow and intentional with it, I have always made matcha faster than I ever made coffee because it's not steeping. You're dissolving it and moving on.
Yeah. Not waiting. I'm waiting every morning for
Right. No, that doesn't happen. It's pretty quick.
Interesting.
But you could use that electric milk frother that you mentioned. You could use an old spice jar with a lid. You can use a blender. It's really not difficult to make with things that you already have in your home. Yeah. You, of course, can make it, as fancy or as little complicated as you want. There's a whole wide range of it, and we have a page on our website called Matcha 101 that walks you through all of that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I did love that because I'm like, for people that are just looking for something alternative, and then you're buy it in the store, right, at the health food store. You just grab it off the thing.
Right.
Might give you a little bit of directions in the back, but it's not really explaining why you need to do it this way. Yeah. And that's what the YouTube channel does. Thank you. And you give different recipes and stuff too, which I loved.
We have almost 100 recipes.
Yeah.
We have so much
fun
lemonade,
with it. Ways to do lemonades. Yeah. And so incorporating it throughout your day. Mm-hmm. I mean, is there an excessive amount to take? Should you do just a certain amount of it every day, just like coffee?
Yeah. So again, it's going to depend on your body. I think I would never go over 5 matchas in a day. But if you think about the caffeine, 23 milligrams,
perfect.
Right? And coffee's 95 to 150. So you're not going to really cross that over unless you already are a caffeine sensitive person, which I learned I was. Mm-hmm. And so I can have 3 matchas in a day and feel completely fine. But some days I have 1, some days I have none, sometimes I have 3.
Yeah. Oh, wow. The benefit to that too, though, is you can have it throughout the day versus most of it. I know you said some people, like my granny drank coffee all day, but most of us that drink coffee can't drink it all day.
Exactly.
Or even if you decide you're going to have one towards the end of the day, then you're wrecked for sleep. For me, I know you're not.
No.
Sounds like this wouldn't do that to you anyway, though.
No. So I have yet to meet a person that drank our matcha and said that. There are some matchas that have higher caffeine levels. So I always say, look for that. We put it on our packaging. We have it on our website. We have it on our social to let people know, this is how many milligrams it has. But yeah, I personally can drink it much later than I ever could drink coffee without any problems because it's such a little amount, and then it has all those amino acids that are going to support your overall body's function.
That's awesome. Nice. I also loved earlier how you said it doesn't spike, right? And that's when you eat certain foods, your blood sugar stays kind of level. Mm-hmm. And it seems like that's what this product does too, is it kind of keeps you level for that focus.
Yes.
Yeah, because coffee does dump off, and it definitely does that.
So that's a great benefit that it does it. So it's anti-inflammatory. It helps you with the focus. It kind of keeps you stable there. What are some of the other? I know it helps with metabolism, right?
It does. Yeah.
How does it really boost the metabolism? Is it the caffeine in it? Just some of the other benefits I don't know. I don't know how to say it.
I'm always waiting for this moment. I'm always waiting.
Stop. Is it some of the other proteins, whatever that's in there? You know.
And it's the complexity of the food, like the whole product, that is going to make it really gut friendly, because it has like prebiotics, probiotics. It's grown in natural clean soil, like all these beautiful things.
Yeah.
The caffeine definitely is part of it, but it activates your metabolism, which is why some people, the first time they try it, they might be like, "Ooh, my tummy feels a little funny," and it's because this is actually like getting your morning going. Right?
Okay, so I wasn't going to get into this, but one of the reasons that I like coffee is it helps with that. If you have a tendency to get on the other end of it and you're in trouble, so this can help with that thing.
Going in a whole different direction.
But the reason I'm asking though is because that would be a reason I would never give up coffee, for fear of. But knowing that this does the same thing, that's good for people.
It's boosting the metabolism.
Yeah, it's still going to be really gut friendly, help you stay regular. Absolutely.
Oh, very
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're talking about this as a coffee replacement, but even if you're a diehard that's never going to give up coffee, you could still drink matcha just because you like it, or the.
Yeah, those people, I always say, if you were going to reach for your third, fourth matcha, or coffee, if you're going to reach for a coffee later in the day, try replacing that one with matcha.
That's a good idea.
To see if it makes you feel different, because you're not going to get the jitters and you're not going to get the crash.
Yeah.
And so how is it actually going to help you finish your day? A lot of people, I've had several moms that will drink it then and be like, oh, wow, I could actually wind down with my kids in the evening, right? I could actually be relaxed when I'm, doing my wind down routine, whatever that looks like for them. Versus with coffee, they're like, oh, I see all these things around the house that still need to get done.
Right,
and they never get that rest time.
I love it. Because I love the idea of it. I'm definitely going to try it, because I like the idea of that third or fourth cup of coffee more than I need it. And that's why I said a couple and then three, because a lot of the times I'll make three and drink because I want to sit at my desk and start my work day with the coffee, but I've already had two coffees usually by the time I get there.
Exactly.
So the idea that you could kind of be sipping on something most of the day, I think for me, I would also think that's maybe a good transition, even if you don't intend to replace your coffee. If you start at the end of the day or in the afternoon and you find that you really like it, you like the way it makes you feel.
And you still have the focus and stuff that you're kind of need to finish up the day, like you said.
Exactly.
As opposed to being like, right, squirrel.
But for those of us that don't want to let go of our coffee, myself included, that might make me more interested in going, okay, well, now I think I'll try it in the morning, just now that I know what it feels like, or what
Or to try on days that you don't necessarily have to focus in the morning. So maybe a day you're not writing, or the weekend, be like, oh, let's play with it on the weekend, because you can also usually most people have more time then to maybe play with the ritual, or play with the way you want, or discover which recipe feels the best for you.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing that, then, it might be a lot easier to fall in love with it versus if you're just trying to compare it to coffee, because they are different things.
Yeah.
And I did notice you use a very little too. It's like half a teaspoon or something.
Wow.
It's not a large amount.
So we ripped through some coffee in this house.
We ripped through some coffee beans in this house, I'm telling you.
Interesting.
So, it's like a tiny little scoop that per serving.
Our small bag that you can get around town, it has 50 servings in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to definitely try this. For that, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because I didn't look this up on your site, but for somebody that wants to get in that ritual and get all the doodads, do you have information on how that works? Or
Absolutely. Yeah. So we sell the bamboo matcha whisk. We sell matcha bowls and matcha whisk stands.
Oh, nice.
We sell a half teaspoon that says a perfect cup of matcha. So you don't have to go into your baking supplies to find that spoon. So we sell all those. And then we also have the matcha in 4 different sizes on the website. The first one is like an intro. It has about 20 servings. We say it's about 2 weeks because some days you're going to have more than one. And then we have up to a 250 serving bag, which we call it's our daily drinker bag.
Yeah.
And it does have
a family size.
Right. Exactly. So you can do the subscription program for that. Or if you're, near any of the stores that carry us, which we're not just in Asheville, we're also in lots of other places as far as Hawaii and Alaska, but we're centered here. You can look on our website to see where you could buy the 50-gram bag. Or there's also, you were mentioning how fun the Starbucks coffees can be or other places can be. Local coffee shops are exceptional at creating recipes. Like right now, Overlook at the outlets has a nanner pudding matcha. Retro Coffee on Sweden Creek has a blueberry pie matcha. Like, they get creative.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, are these places that you've partnered with
Yes.
and are selling your matcha to? That's what I was going to ask. So it's like you could probably find it in boutique places as well, right? Little stores and stuff? Or is it mainly partnering up with coffee shops? And
It's a combination. So
Okay.
we like to partner with other intentional businesses. And I never plan on opening a matcha bar. People ask me all the time. I want to support the other small business owners.
I love that.
Yes. So I will go
So you
into...
don't need a brick and mortar. You're kind of doing that through the other small businesses.
Exactly. Like, there's Battle Cat Beverly Hills just opened up in East Asheville. And so we went there, we filmed a reel, we'll be posting it soon. And so, like, that's how we do it. We were like,
cool.
we're going to not only
Yeah.
supply you with this matcha, we're going to put you on our website, we're going to put you on our social media, and we're going to send our people to you. And so it becomes more of like a continuation of our community.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's really what Asheville is kind of all about. We're
Yes.
learning, like, really small business supporting small business.
It's incredible.
Business to business. Are you part of Go Local?
I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah.
See?
Very nice.
I know.
We are too, actually.
Yeah. I heard about Go Local from a small business, Patton Avenue
Pet company? Yeah, they're wonderful.
Yeah, one of the guys in there is so great. Just, I was telling him, oh, we have a podcast. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
have you seen this? Have you seen that? I'm like, no.
Let me
Just let me write. Give me a second.
Tell you what we're terrible about, though, is we'll go to local we try to only go to local business. Like, if we're going to go get a pizza, we're going to go get a beer. We don't want to go to the big. That is a last resort to go to those. But we'll go through the whole thing and we'll pay and we'll be walking out and then we'll look back in the door and go, are you guys part of Go Local? And they're like, we are. And we're like, yeah, that card we bought, we haven't used.
I was the same
I always
way.
forget.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
I always used it at Patton Ave the most
Yeah.
because, you get discounts off your dog's treats.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like for the treat side of things. And then they also have that really great program with, like, I think it's every 12th bag of dog food you get for
Oh,
free.
yeah.
Yeah, they're wonderful. We love shopping there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
If they had my dog's dog food, I would get it from
I know,
there. But
yeah.
our dogs have such, the one
Sensitive.
has such a sensitive stomach. I'm
Yeah.
like, I will never change her to anything else.
We went through months and months of her
was
just, what are we going to
horrible.
do? We tried Farmers. I'm spending literally $250 a month on dog food, and it was still making her sick. So
man.
at some
Yeah.
point, you're like, you don't want to give them processed food, but you're like, I'm either killing the dog now or killing it. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
Yeah.
they can't get it
was
right.
a horrible
That's so hard.
experience.
It was rough stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys been in this area for a while? Like,
Yeah, so a little bit about the history of Matcha Nude. It actually started with a beautiful woman named Amelia in Banff, Canada. I get to meet her in real life in August. I'm very excited.
Oh, cool.
So she started it out of a necessity to find a matcha product that she aligned with. And we found each other through social media. And I became, a quote-unquote unofficial ambassador, I would say. And she was doing farmers markets and just, that's what she was making, like matcha donuts, matcha granola, matcha face masks.
Now, I don't want to interrupt you too much, but you found her, you tried the product. Did you become the ambassador just because you immediately saw the health benefits of it, or?
So what it was is, like, before finding what she had started was I couldn't find a brand that was meeting all of my values, the taste, the price, the ethics of the company, all of that. Like,
I
it just
love
was
it.
so inconsistent.
Probably ingredients and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Like, if you look at matchas, like, if you went to the store and picked up all the matchas on the shelf, like, there's just so much inconsistency
Yep.
on the price, how much matcha powder you should be using, where is it grown, is it tested for heavy metals and toxins?
Yeah.
There's like so little consistency.
Totally get it. We've become I think over the past probably 10 years, we've learned that there's so much false advertising and organic and healthy. And,
Yeah,
exactly.
if you can't even understand if you can't pronounce the ingredients on the back of things where it's like, and what is it, like 4 ingredients max? So I love that you're conscious of that. But anyway, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to find out what made you like latch on to this one. It makes sense.
So that was a big part of it. Another part was that Amelia's just an incredible human.
Oh, nice.
And then she told me several months before I actually became the owner of Matcha Nude, she said, I think I'm going to sell the company. And I was just like, okay, good luck. And walked away from it. I didn't even think for a second, right? And then she came back to me again, and it was October, and I, not like years ago, and I was like, wait a second. And I looked at my husband from across the couch, and I was just like, I think I'm buying a matcha company. And It was
That's always how it happens, right?
Yeah, I'd been a coach for years by then.
Yeah.
And I realized that the coaching was never going to reach as many people as I wanted to be able to reach with my message.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, this is a way I can expand my community and show more people how they can thrive and not just survive. I know nothing about product-based businesses. I know no idea. I don't have the money to do this. But I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love stories like that though, because it's like you're just, something just tells you, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why she mentioned it to you, first of all.
Yes.
You know, planted that little seed. And just like you said, you're like, whatever, good, great luck with that. I don't know how that's going to happen. There was a reason why she planted that seed there, you know, that she mentioned that she's going to sell her business.
Yes.
Well, probably your enthusiasm for it, but, you know, as a start. But then you sort of also, then that came with an audience already, because she was probably already selling it in multiple locations, or no?
So she was based in Canada, and so she had very few U.S. customers,
right?
And she wasn't wholesaling. And so what we did is we kind of stripped everything back. So pretty much what I bought from her was the name and not even the URL, because I had to get a U.S. URL.
You rebuilt it basically. Okay.
Yes, and I actually changed suppliers. So the biggest thing that I kept was the bags, the packaging for a while, and then the ethics and the values of the brand stayed the same. But everything else needed to shift. I needed a larger supplier. I wanted somebody that, it's like she kind of used a middle person for hers because she didn't need the volume that we knew we needed.
Right.
And our volume's already like grown significantly over the years. And so, a lot changed. I actually had to rewrite the entire website because it wasn't like legal in the US, how she said certain things, just because we're not a supplement brand, right? We don't have that supplement label.
You can't claim that you do certain things.
Yeah, so it was a lot of like finessing the language.
Yeah.
And then, we kept some of her like recipes and everything. And like I said, we've remained friends, and I get to actually meet her in August.
Oh, how cool is that? Now, how many years ago? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, she's probably so happy that it's thriving like this, though.
Yeah, it's really fun when she like shares something and like, you know, shares her emotions around where we've come. You know, it's really fun, and she's an incredible human. She's like a Reiki master. She does cold plunges in like, you know, these glacier-fed lakes in Banff. It's just she's a wild, incredible
150.
woman.
I wish I could get my body to do that.
I love cold plunge. I don't know if I could do it in that, but I'm gonna try.
I mean, now they're selling the cold plunge baths that you just set up in your house. It's like just a little blow up thing almost.
Yeah. Have you been to Sauna House or to Drip Sauna here in town?
I have not.
Yeah. So Drip Sauna is really an incredible vibe. They have a barrel sauna. They're set up like outside. I think they have two of them. One's mobile and then one's stationary. And they also have like a barrel cold plunge. And so that's cool. Yeah, that's really
cool. The hot
cool.
and cold, that's what's good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
And you've done it?
Oh, yeah, several times. And Sauna House has been in business here for, they're pre-pandemic, and they have like a beautiful 2 saunas in their space, and then a couple cold plunges, and they have like private rooms too.
Yeah. We have done, when we were up here for our honeymoon, we did, I think it's called Sochi?
Yeah, Soji Spa.
Oh, yeah, Soji Spa.
Yeah.
And where they have like the saltwater hot tubs, and then they had the freezing cold showers.
Yeah.
One of us,
I did the showers.
One of us didn't get out of the hot tub while the other one went and got in the freezing cold.
It is very refreshing.
Yeah. I do hear like a lot of the people that are big health nuts that work out all the time swear by the cold plunge stuff. It looks like a miserable experience to me, but I'm sure it's exhilarating.
It only lasts for very short amount of time.
Oh, they're wonderful.
I mean, it's like 3 seconds or something you stay in. I mean, you work your way up.
Yeah.
But,
the goal, I think that, you know, everyone needs to listen to their body, but like a sauna, it's 15 to 20 minutes. A cold plunge is like 1 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. But cold plunges are huge for inflammation.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
See, like I know all this stuff.
You do.
I just
got to put it to practice. You got to put it to practice.
You got to do baby steps.
I'm a wellness coach as well, so you think I should know all the.
I'm probably a bad influence, but we had a conversation this morning even about, you know what it is though. Sometimes you get in the rhythm and you moved and you did this and you did that, and then you realize like we're not working out anymore. We're eating junk. So we've been talking for the past 3 or 4 weeks, and we're kind of, you know, now making a conscious effort to eat healthy and to exercise every day. So this kind of falls in line. It's kind of funny how the universe works, but this all falls in line with everything.
That's what I said. It wasn't on purpose. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
With the, you know, all these wellness people coming on.
Well,
Must
and
be trying to tell us something.
I think what's really important to remember with that, like your body adapted to this big change that you had moving, right?
Yep.
And reestablishing yourselves and, setting up this studio and everything you went through, right? That, right, like that was almost a type of survival mode, even though it might not have felt like as survival as it was, like you shook up your world, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to move back into it, like you got to do baby steps. It's like you want to do cold plunge, cool. Turn your shower to freezing cold the last 3 seconds of your shower.
I would be more apt to do that than you, for sure.
And then if you want to eat healthier, cool. Like, can you add another vegetable to your plate? Can you add another fruit to your grocery cart, right? Like, do micro things because those are the ones that last,
It's the removals that I think are because we eat a lot of vegetables, but then I get in the mentality like, hey, we've been eating salads all week, so I'm going to get a burger and some fries, and it's that. It's rewards should be less often. Just you know what I mean? It's not once a week on your
I do though, if you think like mentally, when you add the things to your life that you want to add, there's other things kind of like they can fall away
off
a lot easier.
Yeah.
And so like I think psychologically that can be more supportive. And I also call exercise movement.
We just had somebody on that's what
we did.
Called Body Tribe, and he has a really cool take on he'll be on I don't know.
Chip's episode will actually, well, by the time this airs, this will be all goofed up, but it's the next one to come out as of today.
I'm going back in time now that I'm talking here. It already came out, guys.
It's funny you say that, though, because he did call it movement, and I tried to make myself not say, because he hates workout, the term. And I get it because it starts feeling like misery.
Well, I worked
exactly.
Well, like you worked all day. Now you're going to go work some more.
And the idea that you can do exercise without it being like a miserable, got to put my body through hell for this half an hour. Because my whole thing was, not to regurgitate that interview, but I'm the type, like, I could work in the yard or build a fence or help you build something, do all the exact same exercises. But if I went to the gym and they said, all these movements you got to do, I hate it. Exactly. And it's a mental thing because I feel like I'm accomplishing something that I can see and feel versus pretend lift. I'm not really, you know what I mean? It's just a mental thing for me. So
well, look at our ancestors, look at our family, like even like our grandparents, just go back a few generations, right?
They never went to the gym. They were always in the gym, so to speak, right?
Exactly. Like go stack some wood, go on a hike. Like, there's so many things that you can do.
Yeah.
But I, as a health coach, whenever I ask people, like, what movement brings you joy?
Yeah, is it dancing? Is it riding a bike? Is it doing laundry?
Yeah, go paddleboard or kayak. We've got so much water here, or go explore a hike. Maybe do an easier hike that's a walk. All of that's going to calm your nervous system, which is going to do so much more for you than any gym is going to do.
Yeah.
And we said before we moved up here, one of the things we love about being up here is all the outdoorsy stuff without sweating to death or dying in the heat. But so we hike all except for 90 today. I'm like, we got to go further north.
I'm like, no, need to go up to the top of the mountain.
I mean, higher elevation. But we do. So we hike every weekend, and I just started biking again. So that part is, you're right. It's almost like the shift starts happening where you're like, okay, now that we're starting to do all this all the time, you want what the stuff you put in your body's got to line up with that, or it feels like you have two sides that are battling each other almost. You know.
Yeah. And when you are riding your bike and, going on a hike and your body's like, I need a burger, like, listen to your body. Like, do you need fat and protein?
Yeah.
Right? Because you probably spent all your fat and protein.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe it's not that you are craving something that's quote unquote bad. Maybe your body is asking for something that it needs more of.
Yeah. And I am a believer in that too. Because I get cravings for that kind of stuff. But
you do for a big salad too with lots of vegetables.
I do.
That is your body saying, hey, when was the last time you ate one of our kind?
Hey, remember us?
We have these great vitamins for you. And you haven't been touching us. So what's going on? So I'd love to get a little more into your wellness and fertility coaching.
Absolutely.
And how you're incorporating, this awesome superfood with your clients. And, it is a very personal thing, health coaching, right? It's literally, the word coach is in there, first of all, but you're kind of a therapist too, right?
It's really
that's kind of what we were just doing. Yeah. Seriously though, because you have to get people in the right mindset
you do.
for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because I literally just met with a marriage and family therapist the other day talking about like, what does it look like for me to go become a therapist? Matcha Nude's not going anywhere, but I've loved this work so much that it has become a part of me that when Matcha Nude was, born in my world, it was very much like, okay, I can't give this up. I thought I was going to. I thought like Matcha would hit this revenue mark and I would leave coaching. There's not a bone in my body that will accept that. And so, yeah, it's deeply personal. I grow to care for these people so much. Most of the people that are in the fertility side are couples that I'm working with. And it's amazing.
It's hard.
Of course.
And it's amazing. You know what I mean? Like just
Absolutely.
for somebody going through that struggle.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And, not to get too personal, but have you gone through that struggle yourself? Is that why you leaned towards the fertility side of coaching?
Yeah, we've been trying to grow our family for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've started the IVF process, we've started the foster to adopt process, we've started everything, and always hit roadblocks, and so we've done so much growing, and I think because we both invested in our own mental health with our own therapists and our own care teams, we our marriage is only stronger. But it wasn't in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was really difficult, and on top of me having the chronic illnesses that I have, endometriosis and PCOS are some of the leading causes of infertility. But I learned so much that I was doing over the years that made me feel better in my body. And then I was able to partner with people like functional practitioners to help these people find the missed healing opportunities. So I get to be the mental emotional side of it. Like I talk to them about, can you write down 10 things that bring you joy? When was the last time you dated your spouse? Are you having sex without actually tracking everything?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an important part of that when you are struggling with fertility. And I truly believe that, the foods that people eat, the, harmful
Stress.
chemicals that people are exposed to, the stress
Exactly.
has put women's body and men's body too
100%
into this state of, nope, this part of you is not going to work.
Yeah, because you're in survival mode.
Exactly.
Your body's trying to keep you alive. It's not going to grow a leach, right? A baby is a leach on your body.
Little parasite.
Yeah,
that's what I call them.
So they do. They take so many of
I love that you just said that because when I said that to my mom before, children are babies are parasites. She's like, don't you dare. And I'm like, they are.
They take a lot of your resources.
Yeah.
In all aspects.
And when they come out too.
Yeah,
it's not just when they're inside of you.
Exactly. And so we do a lot of that. Like these people get the opportunity to step back while they're on their fertility journey and have conversations that people get pregnant easily never get to have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how would we handle this situation? How are we going to handle, if we have a colicky baby? Or how are we going to handle if we have a pregnancy loss, right? And, one of the biggest things I noticed when I was on my fertility coach journey in the beginning was that no one was supporting these people through their losses.
Yeah.
And so infertility is its own loss, its own trauma, its own grief. And then you add actual like positive pregnancy tests or pregnancy symptoms and then a loss on top of that. The doctors that they were seeing were not able to offer any trauma-informed care.
Yeah.
The stories I've heard are just awful.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is a place that I can. And so I took a course, and it's very accessible to people, and it changed my entire relationship with people during that time.
Of course.
And been able to help, men be able to understand, what your partner's going through, and women be able to feel validated in all of their emotions.
Both of us have experiences with this. So I'll tell you mine. First of all, I'm so grateful that there are people that are starting to get in these, positions where you're, what'd you say, a pregnancy loss coach?
Pregnancy loss doula is what I call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had a pregnancy, my third pregnancy, and I was 4.5 months pregnant, started hemorrhaging in the hospital for a week, losing, that's the blood transfusion I was talking about before we get on the show. Very traumatic, and ended up losing.
Yeah.
And at that, and I had to give birth, at that point. So afterwards, they give you a little packet.
And you go home, right?
And you go home, and you want to go home. Like after you've had a loss like that, you don't want to be in the hospital. So you're like, get me out of here now.
Right.
Where's the papers? Everything's done. I have nothing to show for. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But there was nothing afterwards. I mean, there's people telling me, you're in postpartum depression. You need to deal with this. but there wasn't really those resources. And I'm sure I could have dug for them somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's like they shouldn't let you leave until you're signed up for a class or something.
Did you hear at least you have your other kids?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But I had 2 perfect pregnancies.
But that's the kind of stuff they say.
Yeah,
It
I had
is.
2 perfect pregnancies. Oh, yeah. Or, you have 2 kids already.
Right. They just say, I feel like it's so desensitized so quickly instead of realizing that, like, regardless of what I have or don't have, like, this is my truth in this moment. And this is going to be a part of my truth for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that happened to you. It's not going away.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like so many times people just try to put it into this little moment in your life that just happened, and you're just going to go through the stages of grief, which are not intended for that type of grief.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's not going to just end. It's a part of who you are. It's a lived experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was, her and I, we don't have kids together, but in my previous marriage, she had multiple miscarriages, not that far along, but, whatever the level is, we ended up finding a group called HEAL in Florida that I actually went and spoke to a few times after, just as a dad that had encountered that, a husband that had encountered that, and just I don't want to get emotional here, but just talking to the other people.
It's so important.
It was one of the most fulfilling experiences. It's very strange to say that, but you hear the stuff that people have been through, the most horrific scenario you can imagine, and the same thing, they're just dismissed. And
especially the men,
Oh,
because
so
a lot of
much.
times the men, you think the woman's the one that went through it, right?
Yep.
And you're not taking into account that the man went through this too. And I even did that with my what I had went through.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of dismissed my ex-husband's feelings. I'm like, well, you're not the one that went through it. You know what I mean?
right. But I will say this,
So-
though. I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I did find that it's more often that the man of the two, of course, didn't see it for an actual, I guess what I learned to think of it as, it's like if any lost family member, that's what it is. It's,
Yeah.
and so you wouldn't have a relative die and them say, well, at least you have the rest of your relative. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's a
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, maybe just it's the connection. You know what I mean? Because, the woman is carrying it. But
and some dads just, and I'm not no disrespect to those dads, but some dads don't really connect until, the baby's physically here. And so they were disconnected from it being as big of a deal as it is. So I don't know. I feel that, I don't even know we're going to get into this, but I feel that it's hugely important for those scenarios to be addressed and therapy and the sort of group conversations around other people that have experienced similar, because you do get left out, left to the wolves as far as just your regular doctor and the nurses. It's like they don't even know how to deal with it. They just
They
usher
don't.
you out.
And they're seeing so much more of it than you are, right? This is something they see on a regular basis.
They're
and this is like
desensitized, yeah.
exactly. But what I see the most with dads is that they want to fix it and there's nothing they can fix.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're just like, they're wanting to solve this problem, but there's nothing that can be done except for be in that grief with your partner.
Right.
Yeah. And time.
Exactly.
That's it.
And then also on the other side is like people put themselves in solitary confinement when they're navigating fertility and pregnancy loss. So they literally don't talk to people. It's them and their partner, maybe a mom,
And the
right?
stress that comes with
Yeah.
that. It's so stressful.
That's
Yeah.
known as one of the worst punishments to humankind, and we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for years we didn't talk about women's bodies. And so why are you going to talk about it now?
Right.
And so being able to find people that you talk to, the beautiful thing that happens is you meet other people.
Yeah.
Right? And even if their story is different, like for the first time, you're like, wow, I feel seen and heard.
Yeah.
And there is something too about talking about it, because you think about these women, you hear it, I've heard the story so many times. So they can't get pregnant. There's so much stress with it. There's the calculated sexy sex time with your partner. You know what I mean? Like there's all this, science behind it. There's no emotion really with it. It's emotional, but they're
You've
just
like removed the romance.
You've removed all of
it
that.
becomes a math.
And so, they don't get pregnant. They go the adoption route. They adopt a baby, and literally 3 months later,
They get
she's pregnant. And now
Happens
they
all the
got
time.
2 babies, what do they call them? Irish twins, But it happens all the time because their mind is totally not thinking about it. So to have somebody be able to step in and tell those truths,
Exactly.
and say, this is kind of the process that you really need to be going through as opposed to where you're at now.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I do too. And you ended that last statement with you feel seen and heard. I feel like that's cannot be understated either, because I think that it's hard for people that haven't been through it to understand what you're going through.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
a fact. It's almost like there needs to be therapy for that too, for the people that didn't go through it, so it can be explained to them better.
100%.
Yeah, and every single person's, journey is a little different, but there's so many similarities that you can connect on and, help support each other, give advice, and advice people. Like, take it if you would like it, and you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's okay to give advice.
So we actually talked about Mother's Day and Father's Day on Matcha Nude's social media, because I think that's, I believe strongly in bringing back to Matcha Nude, like the conversations, the language, the ideas, the lifestyle that can come with deciding to choose your body and your health and, feeling great in every aspect. And so we talk about all these things. We talk about burnout. We talk about, movement. All the things that I would talk about as a coach, I bring to that space. And one of the things that really hit me this year is we went to Target on Father's Day to grab, I think we were looking for like the big bottles of vinegar, right? Yeah. And so we're just checking out with these cleaning supplies, and the cashier is just like, "Oh, are you a father?" And of course he says no. And then the conversation goes on. And I always tell people, like, just either say Happy Father's Day, Happy Mother's Day, or don't.
Don't probe.
Yeah. Do not ask the questions, because you have no idea what that's going to do. And you're a stranger in a public place. Like, you have no idea. So just don't say it. Yeah. Like, I said Happy Father's Day to him earlier in the day because we have dogs. I believe you become a parent the moment you start trying. Yeah. But in that circumstance...
Yeah.
Plus, it's not like that person has time to sit down with you and as a quick
explain,
conversation. That's a minefield.
Like, it's a long story.
Exactly.
Like,
say
are you going to say that to somebody?
Right.
Yeah.
So say it to everyone, or don't say it at all.
Right.
Yeah. That's true. Oh, that's a very good point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like at Christmas time, you say Merry Christmas to people. You don't know what they believe or whatever.
Exactly.
And they can either say thank you or just choose not to say,
or say Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays or whatever.
Yeah, but that's almost the introduction of a very serious conversation. That's the thing that's sort of the bullet to avoid in any topic, maybe especially that one.
But it's a good thing for all of us to think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're not... That woman or whoever, asked that didn't mean any ill intent or
none
anything.
At all.
But it's a good thing to kind of just process and say, yes, that would be kind of the more sensitive way to do it, even though she's probably just, just wanting to find out if she should tell you Happy Father's Day.
But by that same rationale, it's the same way that relatives that are loving and caring will treat a scenario like we were just talking about very poorly because they have good intentions, but it's like bullet wounds just by talking to them. So it's like, I feel like there's value in everybody having some education around all this.
Exactly. Yeah, like you never ask someone, like, when are you having kids or do you have kids, right?
Yeah.
Don't ask that question. Don't. Like, I don't care what you think or, your relationship or if you're auntie or whoever. Like, just don't ask that question.
Yeah. That's a good thing to think about. So I want to, we've talked a little bit about how you've partnered with, you're really great at partnering with the local small businesses. You want to build them up and, and make sure they're being able to offer this, top-notch product in their coffee shops or stores. We were talking before the show about somebody you partner up with at farmers markets.
Yes.
Let's chat about that because that's a really great program.
Thank you. Yeah. So a huge part of us, as I mentioned throughout, is values. And so when we started the program, started Matcha Nude, we knew that we wanted to give back. Well, we didn't know what it was going to look like. And at first it was like, well, do we do 1% for the planet because our bags are compostable, And I sat on it for a while. And I chose not to go that way because, one, my small business, those small dollars are going to mean nothing.
Yeah, right? That's true.
And also, like, there's ways to make a larger impact here. And so since I moved to Asheville in when did I move here? 2018. I have been involved with an organization called Bounty and Soul. They're based in Black Mountain, and they do farmers markets, produce markets that are completely free, where you can go and shop them just like a farmer's market. And the only question asked is how many people are in your household. They do cooking demos. So if there's ingredients you don't know, they let you know how to use it.
Oh, that's awesome.
They have tons of education.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They recently were talking about how to prevent type 2 diabetes. And so we not only give 1% back of our proceeds each year to them, we also do quarterly service days. And so we go out to wherever they need us in that season. So our past two, we were at 2 different community farms, Dr. John Wilson in Black Mountain, and then Root Cause Farm in Fletcher, where we went and helped them get as many of their crop in the ground. So everything from planting onions to harvesting cilantro and everything in between.
So cool.
Yeah, it's really great. And anyone's welcome to join us. They do have a cap for how many people can go to the farm.
Yeah.
And so we always do say, like, if you join our newsletter so you can know and sign up early.
Sign up early.
Exactly. Yeah. But we do at least once a quarter.
So that's a great way that you're just getting involved in the community and giving people the insight of here's something you can get involved with.
Exactly.
That, here's this, wonderful program they have, and here's how we're helping. And so you're kind of connecting people with those places, and they might go back and volunteer again in the future, you know? So that's awesome. I love that.
And we want to go.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll want to go get our hands dirty.
Yes. It's
Plant something.
It's really fun, and we'll probably, the fall one will probably be more back at the farmer's market itself.
Right.
And being able to help set up and distribute the foods there, because they do have people handing the produce to the shoppers, and it's a wonderful experience.
Oh, I bet.
That kind of reminds me of Bags of Hope that we used to.
Me too. Yeah, it does.
Volunteer at. They would do the same kind of thing. Like
That's
we'd
awesome.
have a tent with cooked food, and people could go get a plate of food. There was resource tent where they could go get job information and how to clothes for interviews. And then they had another one where it was how many people in your family, and we would bag up fruits and veggies and
that's awesome.
Groceries for them to take home. So
and I like that. It almost ties in what we were just talking about. I like that there's not this big huge interview and it's embarrassing. People want to be able to keep their dignity. So just to say how many people in your family.
Yeah,
that's it. That's
and you're shopping it. You get to choose.
Right.
So I grew up, needing public aid. We shopped at food banks. We needed all of that support when I was younger.
Yeah.
I also believe it's a big reason why I didn't get my first diagnoses until I was 18.
Yeah.
Because
wasn't going to the doc.
No, well, even if I went to the doc, I was going to the doctors.
It wasn't good insurance or something.
Or gluten-free food. They're not going to have that at the food
I see
pantry,
what you mean. Yeah.
Right? And so I love that you get to pick your options, and you get to learn about the certain foods.
The education is the big part of it.
Yeah, there's a huge piece of that. And what we would go to food banks when I was younger, and it was canned or processed or white bread. It's calories and bodies, which is important, of course.
Sure.
But this gets to be not only calories and bodies, but nutrition and bodies.
Yeah.
Maybe help you prevent having health issues in the future when you get older. And by the time maybe you're on your feet, now you have health issues because of the way you've been eating.
Especially
your whole
with people have growing children, and they're eating so much of the box stuff. It's just not feeding their brain. Then you wonder why they have ADHD and they can't concentrate at school. They haven't eaten the right foods before they've headed off to school to get them to be able to concentrate.
Because they didn't have any options. Right.
They didn't have the options. I mean, they have food in their a little bit of food in their tummy, but it's not those, fresh foods.
Right.
Exactly.
Stuff we took for granted, I think.
That we had. Yeah. Oh, I had, I didn't always have the best stuff neither.
Yeah.
We drank powdered milk for, some time in my life. And, you had hot dogs on Wonder Bread and, all that stuff we probably really loved when we were little. But when I think back at it now, I'm like, oh, gosh.
Did you ever have peas and tuna fish on toast?
Oh, yeah.
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 I feel like a lot of people I know are what is that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a depression food that came into my childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're actually one of the treats we would do sometimes we always had milk in the house, is graham crackers, and we would stuff the graham crackers down in the cup and then pour the milk on top because it was sweet. It was I don't know. It's what we did.
It was a dessert, a treat. Yeah.
I know we did well as kids, so we weren't quite in that situation. But even in those situations, I guess where we had the choice, I don't know if it was an education thing back then, but so we didn't struggle like that. But we also had absolute junk in the house that we could eat that you wouldn't necessarily feed your kids very often. So I don't know if that was the problem with the education of what to make sure your kids aren't eating.
It's the marketing. Like if you look back at what your parents were marketed to think was healthy for you,
right?
It was all the things now that were like, run from this.
Right.
Right.
And it's only gotten
all the
worse.
cereals that are fortified.
Yeah.
You know, this has got vitamin D. It's fortified.
My favorite is, Sugar Smacks is part of a balanced breakfast. What part? What does balanced mean?
Oh my gosh.
But
I love it. Yeah, it is all the marketing.
And I also believe that's only gotten worse. We talk about that sometimes too, sort of off topic, but, Twinkies and whatever. If you read the ingredients of that stuff like in 1975 and now, it's really different. Like now it's 87% chemicals and
and back then it was lard.
But
even flour and sugar.
Even things that are marketed as healthy, like we talked about matcha, right?
Yes.
Like you can go to a store, pick out anything that you read somewhere is a health food, a superfood, is amazing.
Right.
And somebody has taken that product and added a bunch of crap to it so that you like it better, so that you buy it more, and you're not actually getting the benefits of it.
Right.
We see this all the time.
Yeah.
You said you're a health and wellness coach. When Angie was getting her health and wellness coach certification and she's learning this stuff, she would tell me. So I find myself for the first time in my life reading the back of stuff in the grocery store going, what? And right on the front, it's like
heart healthy,
good for you, organic. And you're like, this is a box of poison.
Sugar, number one ingredient.
But I don't know if you've seen those shows where they do like the pantry clean outs at people's houses. And they're like, it's a stack of stuff that says healthy, organic, and it's all garbage.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of it does have to do with like, what is your access to nutrition education?
Yeah.
What is your access to even a store that has those options?
Yeah.
Right? Like now I'm very lucky that I get to choose what grocery store I shop at.
Sure.
That wasn't an option most of my life.
Of course.
And so being able to have like two different things in front of me and be able to choose the one that I agree with more, I know is going to support my body more versus the one that isn't.
Yeah. It's just a shame that I don't want to go negative here, but there's so many lies and all of that it's like, and it's legal.
Yeah. And it's so confusing and overwhelming. I remember when my oldest son was like 13, they came back and said, he has high cholesterol. They don't really explain what that means. You know what I mean? It's like, you need to change his diet. So I remember being in the grocery store and I was literally on the floor in an aisle in tears.
Yeah, of course.
Because I went by myself, to do the shopping. But, my kids ate healthy, like home cooked meals, and they ate sweets and stuff that I made. But
he drank a lot of milk, though, didn't he?
He did. Cheese and, protein, things that growing boys need at 13.
Yeah.
And then, I'm in tears and I'm freaking out. Oh my God, he can't eat anything, Right.
It's scary. But,
after more research though, and, his father learning a little bit more about their family, all their family runs high in cholesterol. It didn't mean it was the end of the world. They weren't breaking it down for me and telling me what's healthy cholesterol and not healthy cholesterol.
Exactly.
So you had to take it into your own hands and be like,
100%.
I know what's best for my kid.
Yeah.
I know he's a little chubby. That's called puberty fat. Like he's going to burn it off. And you've seen,
Oh yeah. Now he looks like
son.
Thor, the guy that plays Thor.
So, and it literally happens overnight, with kids. So a lot of times we have to listen to ourselves and also know that I'm giving him the right things. Yeah. It's just do a little more digging because you're going to have to do it yourself. Right?
You do. It's really unfortunate. I mean, I think more and more education's coming out there, but then, I will be scrolling on social media and see someone say something that is absolutely wrong, but there's, 100,000 people following them and they're all like, ooh, this is right. And you're just like, oh, wow. Do you know how many people you're hurting with this information?
Yeah.
It's really
claiming that it does something. And I know.
Yeah.
And there's so much information. It can be
Or
so
false
overwhelming for people to navigate it all.
Well, I think that's also the benefit of this program because they're teaching it's plants right away. You're in the green, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the things that
you're in the green. I like that. You're in the green. What?
Roll credits. But one of the things that Angie taught me early on is if you don't know and you can't figure it out, then you shop the outside of the grocery store and stay out of the aisles. So that's a first little tip.
Absolutely.
If you sort of don't know what else to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I think there's a lot of foods that we've been, there's people that are telling you that veggies are toxic. There's people that are telling you fruit is bad, And so being able to go back to your gut and your intuition and be like, what feels good in my body?
Right.
That you say that because, he craves stuff that I don't crave. Like he'll be like, oh, I want something, greasy or something like that. Where I'm like, oh, I like pea salmon, and opposite sometimes. So I'll do something sweet. He'll want something salty. Yeah. So I think it is about listening to your body, but be conscious of, the marketing and the health benefits of stuff. Be conscious of that too. But for the most part, listen, if you're moving, then you can probably pretty much eat that cheeseburger if you want it, right? Just move.
If you're moving.
Listen, for me, it's like I don't eat gluten or dairy. I haven't in a very long time because those two foods do not feel well in my body.
Yeah.
But there's ways that I can eat everything else that I crave that feels good in my body.
Yeah.
Right? I might not eat potato chips, but I eat plantain chips.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's an
still
option.
Getting that,
exactly. And I always think about a lot of people when they start going on a wellness journey, if it's movement, if it's food, they get this deprivation mindset of these things that I can't have.
Right.
Right. And
it's never going to last when you get in that mindset.
No, you have to go into what can I add to my life to feel better?
Yeah.
Because we all deserve to thrive, but we live in a world that benefits from us just surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like every wellness program out there, they make more money if you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? They don't make more money. Like, I want people to walk away and never need me again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? That's my goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
This falls in line with us.
I don't want to be your wellness coach forever.
No.
I want you to learn and move on with your life,
Exactly.
and apply these things.
And everyone has a different amount of time. You know,
Yeah.
some people give up. Some people stick with me a long time. And some people have like this sweet medium space where like, hey, I've learned a lot. Maybe I'll come back later. And
Yeah.
that's great.
Just to keep you on the road, sometimes it helps too.
Exactly.
You know,
Accountability or that
Yeah.
person that will validate all of your experiences and be able to be present with you.
Yep.
That can be really helpful.
Now,
For sure.
How fun is it when you have to be a little bit, hard?
Oh, I love it. And
I do
think,
too.
Yeah.
I used to tell people, I'm like, now I'm hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you about
Yeah.
yourself, basically.
Yeah.
Well-
And you might not like what I have to say.
So what I always do is I have a intake form in the beginning that says
Yeah.
like, hey, if you're really struggling, you're getting caught in this pattern, like how do you want it to be addressed? And most people don't know.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they've had a negative experience and they're like, not like this.
Yeah.
And so when you get to know the person, you know how you can talk to them. And I usually will always be like, all right, I'm going to be a little hard here. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Like I
You
like
give the warning.
Yeah. Or like it almost feels like permission, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm like, are you cool if I go there? Right.
But
I
have an
usually,
emotional day. What's going on? Okay, I'll
Exactly.
season it a little better.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I would be terrible at this.
Exactly. But it can have the biggest impact on them.
Yeah.
Sometimes people
Right.
need that, but that is the thing. It's like drill sergeants.
No,
right?
I meant the other way. I just don't know how to be overly gentle. Like I would be like, boom, because I guess that's what works best for me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sugarcoat it. Here I go again. You can't sugarcoat. The joke has been, don't sugarcoat it because I'll eat that too. But you can't sugarcoat it with me because I won't get it. It's got to be.
He's
Well,
very
and I've learned
to the point.
As
Yep.
a coach, you know that. You know which people are like that and which people aren't.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have some people that I've got to start with gentle hands and they slowly get a little more tough. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's other people that I know, like they're gonna laugh as soon as I call them out on their crap, right?
Yeah.
They're just gonna, they're
Yeah,
gonna,
man,
it's gonna,
I did that.
exactly. And they're
Only
gonna
way
be
to
like,
get it into some brains is
Right.
to just
Yeah.
call it out.
Yeah.
Get naked. I guess that goes with the whole nude matcha thing. But yeah, that's what, like we talk to financial advisors, we talk to people that say, and that's a phrase that's used that means, we're going to get down to truth here.
Exactly.
And if we don't, it's not useful.
No, not at all. Exactly.
So what's next for you guys, and where can you guys? Where can people find?
Absolutely. What's next? Well, we just started launching our new packaging, so you'll see an update across. It took a very long time to find a compostable pre-printed, like custom printed bag that aligned with our values. So it's compostable in a backyard and not just in a commercial
nice.
facility.
Yeah.
So you'll start to see that come across.
Oh, that's
Oh,
another,
cool.
I didn't even know there was a difference. There's another marketing thing that people get away
Yeah.
with.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
A lot of things are compostable that need to go to a commercial facility that has really high temperatures, and
Yeah.
most people are not sending it to a commercial facility.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's still trash.
Sure.
Yeah.
So ours, like don't do this, but you could throw it in the woods and it's going to decompose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you could put it in your garden or something, right?
Yeah,
Shred it up, put it in the garden. Yeah.
Exactly. Or if you do have something like Compost Now, which
Yep.
is something that's local here, or if you have a farm that accepts compost, or if you have a small compost in your backyard, any of those things. But yeah, so that's going to be something people are seeing. We also also, as I mentioned, have a map on our website, and we share on social whenever we're in a new spot. So you can always check that out. Like you mentioned, it's retail shops, it's coffee shops. If you're looking to find all of the really cool, awesome coffee shops in town, I'm going to be biased and say that most of them are carrying Matcha Nude.
That's awesome. I was going to ask where you're at, but it sounds like a lot of places.
A lot of them, yes. Especially the woman-owned ones, which is really lovely.
Oh, yes,
nice.
because you're a female-owned business.
Exactly. And run. All the employees are female right now.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent.
Cool.
And that just kind of happened. We will hire anybody that fits the roles.
Yeah.
But, so that's going to be the best place to get started. You mentioned earlier we're on YouTube. We're on Instagram's definitely our most used platform. We are on Facebook.
I'm starting to learn the Asheville. I have to be on Instagram more.
We're very
starting to feel old.
Yeah.
As soon as you're Facebook, you're old, I guess.
Well, we have a TikTok that we don't use a lot, and that's I love Matcha Nude because someone has Matcha Nude on TikTok. Someone beat me to it. But yeah, all those places. As I mentioned, we have a newsletter, and we're always sharing different recipes. We do at least 2 new recipes every single month.
Is the link to all your socials on your website?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very nice.
Everything's on there.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And that's where they can sign up for the newsletter as well if they would like. Okay.
Yep, and also in our Instagram bio, there's a little, link in bio situation. Yeah.
Well, we're excited to get some, first of all, and start incorporating it and try it. And also to come out and volunteer with you. I think that would be really fun.
Oh, I do too.
I'll definitely send
Tell
you
me
that
the
info.
name of the place that you do that with again, one more time.
Bounty and Soul.
And I've put
Bounty
that
and
in
Soul.
the notes, so I'll put that in the show notes link too.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Very
coming
educational.
to our little study here.
Absolutely.
Studio.
It's wonderful.
Study. Whatever. Angie.
Studio.
Angie needs some matcha. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week. And we hope you come back next week to listen in. And remember, at the end of each and every day,
It's all fine and dandy. Angie, did you just eat the last pickle?
You mean this silly dilly? Oops, sorry.
Dude, I was looking forward to that. That's my favorite flavor too.
No worries. I'll just run up to DJ's Pickles and grab some more.
Oh, that's right. They have their own pickle shop at the W&C Farmers Market right here in Asheville.
Yes, they do. They also jar small batches of their chef-crafted gluten-free pickles and other products there. I love that they don't use any preservatives or anything artificial.
Nice. Now I'm really craving one. Can we just head up to the pickle shop now?
Sure thing. And while we're there, I'm going to pick up my favorite as well. The sweet and spicy okra is the best. And don't forget, we can always order them online at djspickles.com and have them shipped right to the house.
Awesome. But while I'm there today, I'm just going to stock up so I don't run out anytime soon and you don't eat the last pickle anytime soon again.
DJ's Pickles, crafted with care and delightfully delicious. Hi guys, we hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, we would love a review. So make sure to head over to your Apple Podcast app or whatever app you listen to your podcast on and give us a 5-star review. Also, give us a like and a follow on our social media. You can find that all under Fine and Danjee. And if you want to find out more about our guest or about us, head over to fineanddanjee.com.